Paul Newman is Butch Cassidy, and the Sundance Kid is Robert Redford. Catherine Ross is Etta Place.
Dynamite's ready, Butch.
Well, that ought to do it.
Think you used enough dynamite there, Butch?
Right. All right. Good evening, everyone. It's a new month, so you know what that means. It's a new Seamen on Film episode, starring all the Wild West outlaws that you know and love. With us tonight is El Guero Pistolero and Bree Ashley, the breeze from the east. I don't know if that's the jet stream. We got Snub-Nosed Herschel, just outside of Kansas City Kid, and the Bald Bandit. Yeah, I was thinking of something like that for you, Joe. I was thinking, the Wichita Waxer, something like that.
I tried to say away from the gross cities. No Topeka, no Wichita. So with the third grossest city in Kansas.
It's also the third city that I know.
All right, so my movie pick for the month was from the AFI Top 100 list, and a list of what the qualifications are to be on the top 100 list and who's picking them. I would like to see this group of people, if it's voted on by normal people like us, or just a bunch of people who think they're what's it called, neophiles or
cinephiles.
Yeah. Film nerds.
Probably I don't know. Gotta come from the guild or something or whatever, I guess.
Yeah, so it's that was my choice. There's a lot of movies on there that I've seen and that I like. But there are some on there I just completely disagree with being the top 100 movies of all time. So I think kind of like Herschel says, if you were first in doing something, you're probably cemented in your position on that AFI 100. Although I've never seen Citizen Kane, I have seen Casablanca, which I believe is Moroccan for the White House. But just to get started off here, this movie is about it's based on a true story. My pick was Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, which I've never seen all the way through. I remember seeing bits and pieces of it as a kid, and I remember my mom watching it. I chose this one because I don't think we've done a Western before, and I'm a Redford and Paul Newman fan. And like my grandmother said one time, she says, I don't like watching these shows and movies that are set in New York City. She goes, when I watch something, I want to see scenery. I want things on location. I don't want to see just dark, steamy alleys and dead bodies. And I kind of agree with her because I'm like that now in my life. So I just turned 46, so maybe I'm getting to her age now. A couple of facts on Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. They were actual outlaws in the Wild West. This movie was released on October 24th, 1969. It was the top grossing movie of 1969 at $102,308,900. In today's money, that's like $70 billion. It grossed $82,625 on its opening weekend. The main song in the movie was Raindrops Keep Falling on My Head by Burt Bacharach, who we recently lost. And Joe, where was he from?
So you're asking me, he must be from Kansas?
Kansas City, Missouri.
I did not know that. Interesting.
I've seen an AFI list number. This was number 50, and it's considered the 7th greatest Western of all time. The thing about Westerns is it's basically you got to have what the main characters do, and then what they do in between that, or what's the effect of what they do. And that's what builds a Western. And at some point you have to have an outcome.
That was big enough to be any movie.
Yeah, well, not really. After you see my top 5 list.
Okay.
You don't really need plots, really. One thing I liked about this movie from the beginning was it started off with like a rustic and sepia type setting, and we don't notice him, but that's Sam Elliott playing cards with the Sundance Kid.
Yep.
It is.
The future Mr. Catherine Ross, who played Robert Redford's girlfriend in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
Except they didn't start dating during this movie. Years later before they hooked up. Now, the what I did like at the beginning is that most of what follows is true. That needs to be put at the beginning of any movie that is based on a true story. Because nobody knows what's said between these guys when they're up by themselves in a mountain. They have to fill in all this crap. The only thing they know is these guys lived and they died. I always say The Perfect Storm is the best movie to talk about. The only thing people know about that fucking ship was it left one day and never came back. And they assume it sank because of that storm. But it was based on a true story. But yeah, most of what follows is true. It's probably the best thing you could put. But I like the beginning, and then it goes into the actual movie. You get a feel for, like, there's a chemistry between Redford and Newman in this movie. The back and forth, the way they responded to each other, and I mean, it was just quick dialogue between both of them, which I really loved. Great writing, I thought, with some of the dialogue. And we noticed, they have a penchant. I guess they're like celebrities out there. They love Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. I guess they're addicted to robbing banks. This is what they want to do. They can't think of doing anything else. They talk about going straight by joining the army and fighting in the Spanish War, and that's not going to hold up.
It's tough, man.
They make their way back to a place called Hole in the Wall, which is the Hole in the Wall gang, and this is where we see that Butch is the de facto leader of the group, but he's being challenged by Harvey. You know him as Lurch from the Addams Family. And this is where we see the good banter between Redford and Newman, to where Redford is being challenged. He's like, guns or knives? He's like, I don't want to shoot with you, Harvey.
Guns or knives?
It's harder now. You got to plan more. You got to prepare more.
Guns or knives?
Neither.
Pick.
I don't want to shoot with you, Harvey.
Anything you say, Butch.
He pulls out a big knife. And Harvey does want Sundance. He's like, hey, this doesn't include you, and you're welcome to stay after I kill him. Which Newman says, I'm fucking dead, kill him. I always thought that was funny. But then he's like, all right, let's go over the rules. He's like, what rules? He kicks him in the nuts and punches him and knocks him out. He remains the leader. And then finds out Harvey had a plan to rob Harvey's plan to rob this train is what sets these characters off on the next 2 hours of the movie here, the next hour and 45 minutes. Harvey's plan was to rob the train on the way in and back, way out and back, because they figured, oh, we already got robbed, so we'll just put more money on the second one on this way back. And this is where we find out where they're kind of celebrities, because the train conductor, he wants to get off and watch them rob the train. He's like, what are you doing? He's like, I wanted to watch. Bring the kids, why don't you? And this is where we find out that everybody wants to be robbed by Butch Cassidy. He's the main guy. What I did like was there was a sense of humor built in. I don't know if that type of sense of humor was available back in the 1800s. Do you guys believe that? Or maybe this was like the modern 1960s writing that's putting it all in there. They blow up. And I guess they made like $25 off of this robbery here, the first one.
Yeah.
Of course, this happens outside of a town to where the sheriff is trying to get up a posse to go after them. And nobody in town wants to volunteer to go after Butch Cassidy. Anybody need guns? I can give you guns. And nobody's like, ah. So then, since everybody's there, this bike salesman takes advantage of the crowd to try to make a living. Since, everybody thinks they're halfway to the hole in the wall. No, they're up there on the prostitutes 03 level, looking down at this sheriff coming up with this posse to go get him. So, and then we find out that Sundance has a girlfriend. He's not a whore and a drinker like, what's his name? Is it Robert Leroy Parker? Butch Cassidy is his real name.
Oh.
What did you guys think of the scene where he was in Catherine Ross's house? Did you think that was his girlfriend? Did you pick up on it right away?
Yes, but only because it was a film from 1969.
Oh, yeah, I did not pick up on it right away. But it didn't take long for it to realize what was happening.
You thought he was this is the way men did it back then.
No, I thought he was being a creep, and then I realized very quickly, I was like, she's giving into this real easy, actually. But maybe she doesn't have an option. And then I was like, oh no, this is the option.
Yeah, I started wondering. I was like, did they do role playing back then?
Yeah.
Were they already having marriage counselors back then saying, well, maybe you guys need to role play a little bit? You know,
No.
Probably not marriage counselors, but I'm sure people were doing weird, kinky things from day one.
To me, like Sundance was built up as like the gentleman thief, so I knew he wasn't like the thief with morals, you know, or the thief with the code.
Got a code.
I don't know any. I barely know any cowboy lore or outlaw lore, so I just fresh eyes coming into this.
Yeah, and then there's the bike scene. This is where you find more the closeness between Butch and Sundance. It's where he takes Sundance's girl on a ride to Raindrops Keep Falling on My Head.
I think it lasted too long.
Yeah, I agree with you 100% on that. Like, it's a weird part to, I mean, because I don't know, like that song's not westerny.
Yeah,
it wasn't even
odd
written back
choice,
then.
like it works.
I agree. Every time I hear that song, I think of that movie. Every time I see the movie, I know the song. You know, I sing along to it. But I was actually talking to my dad about this yesterday, and it was like, oh, I gotta watch this movie. He's like, oh, it's so good, man. You know, it's good. He's like, yeah, I bet you could cut about 40 minutes of that thing if you took out of some of those musical numbers. Where they just played. Yeah, but I guess that kind of that's kind of like the 1969 version of montage. You know, it kind of shows a passage of time.
Yeah, there was a few montages in this with that music. You know, you got the piano music and shit like that. It goes back into a rustic sepia. Did you guys like the sepia parts of it?
I just figured that's what Color of the World was back then.
Limited like resources and tech when it comes to like movie production and everything else. So it's like, you know, you do kind of work with what you have. So I mean,
I don't know
effects are what they are.
I don't know that it was so much limited. I mean, you know, you had 2001 before the year before this one.
Right.
I think that was just their attempt to show you some age, you know, because I mean, it's set in the Wild West, but it's very much a movie from the 60s. So I think they were just trying to, you know, hey, we all do this now. We all take these old timey photos when we go to wherever they have, whatever.
And you can't smile.
No.
A Million Ways to Die in the West taught us only creepy people smile.
Good scene.
Okay, everybody hold still.
You know, supposedly there's some guy in Texas who smiled one time while he was getting his picture taken.
Shut the fuck up. Are you serious? We were just talking about that last week. Is that true?
But you hold that smile for like 30 seconds, you know? So, you know, in real life, these guys, they had been in jail before. They've been in prison for like horse thief and all that shit, you know, stealing horses. So does that make Butch Cassidy the first bike thief as well? Because I'm sure he didn't pay for that thing. And we kind of figure out that Catherine Ross asked him, I was wondering what the whole bike scene was about. She's like, if I would have met you first, you think we'd have been together? I don't know what that was all about. But then, you know, Sundance comes out like, what the hell are you doing? It's like, I'm stealing your girl. He's like, scratches his ass and I'll take her. He's like, well, you're, you know, romantic. That's what I did like about it. He's, you know, they're making the decision that, she's, you know, Eda's going to go to Bolivia with him. And he's like, I don't want any crying, I don't want any bitching, you know, all that he gives her these rules. And, you know, Paul Newman's like, don't sugarcoat it, kid.
Yeah. In 1969, could they have had were there two other actors that are as cool as Robert Redford and Paul Newman?
You know,
Dennis Hopper and Jack Nicholson.
Well, you know, it's interesting you bring that up, because this movie got kicked around for a while before, you know, and other people were signed on. Warren Beatty at one point was going to be the Sundance Kid. And when he was not signed on, but when he was attached, he wanted Elvis Presley to play the other part. So, I mean, it's another one of those movie stories, man, where you look at it and you think of those people in that movie and that's it. And you look at who was supposed to do it. I don't know. It's interesting to a point.
You're
They
right.
did it today, they'd probably be like John Hamm and Chris Pratt.
Yeah, now you're getting into
Like-
Magnificent Seven territory.
Oh shit! Yeah. But I'm trying to think like Ryan Reynolds as Butch Cassidy. Like, I mean, he's a pretty cool guy. I don't know who would be the equivalent of our 1969 cool guy meter.
Yeah, it's I always agree with Herschel. Like, you read all this shit about, you know, you think First Blood. Dustin Hoffman was supposed to be John Rambo.
Yep.
So
That never would've
Stallone
worked.
took over.
Yeah.
And then Sylvester Stallone was supposed to be the Beverly Hills Cop before they got Eddie Murphy.
Shit.
Yep.
You know, it's going to be more of an act, that kind of thing. I always like reading into that stuff. And, you know, in this one, Paul Newman, Butch Cassidy is the brains of the operation. Everybody's looking to him to solve every problem and to come up with it. And as we know, that Sundance is the gentleman gunman who is feared throughout the whole territory, as we found out by the card game at the beginning. And it kind of shows us how good of a shot he is.
He has to be moving though.
Yeah, and it's as long as he's moving. And this is where you know, you find out Butch is the brains, and he's like, so what do you think we're gonna do next? He's like, we'll go to Bolivia. What's Bolivia? He goes, oh, it's a country, stupid. Bald Bandit, if I were to give you a list of 50 places that you could choose to move to, where does Bolivia fall on that list?
In 1895 or like in 2023, because, you know, it's vastly different scenescapes.
Let's do 18. Yeah, let's do 18, whatever.
I mean, back then, you know, I don't know, Bolivia's on that list in the top 10 per se, based on how much of the world I know, but I mean, you know, probably an outlaw going to another country. Brazil would be higher up there. And
Cactus Jack, can you name 50 places?
Yeah, I could name 50
Oh,
places,
yeah.
and Bolivia probably wouldn't be one of them.
no, wouldn't be one that I think, but maybe that's why you go there, because like everybody's going to like the Brazils, the Mexicos, the, you know, Spain's, and, you know, the more known countries. So you hit the smaller ones, figuring, yeah, there's going to be less of a organized government, law enforcement, or whatever. We can live like kings. It's the
Hold that thought.
you know, that kind of story. I can't think of the movie, but yeah.
Bree, since none of us want to sound gay, who do you think's sexiest, Redford or Newman?
Redford.
Redford?
Yeah.
Why?
Newman.
Strong silent type.
Why?
Yes.
I mean, yeah, strong silent type. That's a good idea.
What about you, El Guero?
Newman's got
Pistolero?
those eyes though that you do kind of just fall into them. I could see that, but
Well, you're talking about the ocean blue that you're going to swim in, is what you're talking
yeah. He's got that, and it is remarkable, but I don't find it attractive.
El Guero, who's the sexiest out of the two?
Oh, Redford for sure.
Snubnose. Snubnose, you said Newman?
Yeah. Personality. It's all about personality, man.
Oh, that's why.
Yeah.
Well,
Since your
yeah,
next snub,
I
since your next
also
snub
agree.
nose, you
Redford's
gotta
got a
have a
better
personality.
personality.
5-inch over here.
It's not just a name; it's a lifestyle.
KC Kid, what do you think?
I guess I'm thinking menage a trois.
Oh, he's going whole hog.
You're
on
talking
it.
about a devil's three-way. Devil's three-way.
He's like,
Okay.
he's like, what pick, boys? What
Okay.
pick?
No, and that's a tough one. I mean, both those dudes are, they've been they're lady killers for decades.
Telling you,
You know?
back then we'd call that a pitchfork. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, right. Yeah, I mean, I guess Redford is the more handsome of the two. I get. I mean, it's tough though, because I mean, you still see Paul Newman on bottles of dressing, and so I see him like, "Oh, hey, Paul."
My favorite, raspberry vinaigrettes.
Oh yeah,
got those blue eyes looking at me as I'm pouring it onto my salad. Bald Bandit, who do you think?
I gotta go for my my people. Paul Newman. Good old fashioned handsome Ohio man, blue eyes, just like me.
I like I'm a Redford guy just because of The Natural.
Yeah.
So that was Natural was what year? Herschel, was that early 80s?
Yeah, that's like it's 84, somewhere in there.
Yeah.
It's in there, man.
So this was 69, that was 84. Robert Redford was still one of the hottest guys in Hollywood, and yet same age as Wilford Brimley in that movie, who played the manager of the team named Pop. Both were like 38 or something. But
that's what the diabetes will do to you, man.
Come on. Great.
Eat your Quaker oats. Robert Redford does. So in the first train robbery, because the train robbery is what sets the movie off. And there's a guy in the money car called Woodcock who's hell bent on. I was hired by, was it E.H. Harriman or E.L. Harriman or something?
Himself, yeah.
The owner.
He's like, Butch, if anybody's going to steal my money, I'd pick you. It was an honor to be robbed by Butch Cassidy and the Hole in the Wall gang.
But I can't let you do that.
And they steal that little bit of money, and then the train comes back around and they go get it again. This time they use too much dynamite because old E.H. Harriman has decided to, fortify it here with some metal bars, but it's Woodcock again in the car. And Woodcock give him the same spiel. I was hired by Harriman. And Butch Cassidy says, you can't want to get blown up again. And then somebody's grandma comes out of the car. First Karen, I believe. He's not going to stand for this, and that is why Woodcock opens the car this time. When we see another train coming down the track, and they figure, what the hell is that? And these 5 men burst out of it. And I guess they couldn't, the way they shot this was they couldn't get the horses and everything to bust out of that train, so they had to build it a little different, and they had to knock out the back wall so the horses could come out of that train.
Cool scene.
Cool scene, and they start going after him, and Hole in the Wall gang splits up, and Paul Newman's like, all right, how many of them went after them? He's like, none. They're all coming after us. Paul Newman's like, what the hell's wrong with those guys? Always some good comedy. One of my favorite scenes was Redford being able to shoot and move. When he heard a noise, he took he moved and he took a shot, and big fucking Gia monster comes flopping down to the side. And then they kind of figure out who's chasing him. This Lord Baltimore, who was a Native American, not an Indian as those Cleveland people call him. Lord Baltimore is this Native American who's an expert tracker that they had met a few years back. And then is it General LaForce?
Yeah.
The most persistent lawman that side of the Mississippi or the Gia River. But this is a chase now throughout the rest of the movie. They're not giving up. And the scene of they're trying to decide if they're going to jump off the cliff into the water, that's a classic back and forth between those guys.
Ready?
No, we'll jump.
Like hell we will.
No, it'll be okay. If the water's deep enough, we don't get squished to death. They'll never follow us.
How do you know?
Would you make a jump like that and you didn't have to?
I have to, and I'm not gonna.
Well, we got to, otherwise we're dead. They're just gonna have to go back down the same way they come. Come on.
That was this part of the movie was almost like horror story because they're, getting chased by these people that they couldn't shake and they had no faces, no names, and they're just on them. It's like,
Was it spooky to you?
it was spooky.
It was like this is what gave them the idea for Jason, I think. No matter
Yeah.
how fast you run, he's just
And
walking.
they're right there, yeah.
Oh, I didn't
Um,
find it spooky at all.
How did you guys like the banter back and forth when they were deciding on if they're going to jump in the?
Hilarious.
I
It's
liked
good.
it.
It's a classic scene,
It was
I
nice
can't
to see how it stemmed, like that classic, like jump, but I can't jump because I can't swim. And I was like, oh, this is probably where that started. Because I've seen similar situations crop up in movies since.
Can't
It's-
swim. Yeah, he's like, do you think he would jump? He's like, I have to do it, and I'm not going to do it. And they both just jump without, saying another word. Pretty classic. Then they get back to Etta's house, and that's where they all decide they're going to Bolivia. Take the train. This is where another musical montage starts that Joe loves. And they start taking their pictures at Coney Island and shit in New York. And they sail to Bolivia. Like I said, back then I wouldn't even think they had maps back then of Bolivia and shit like that. Or how did Butch Cassidy hear of them? Or
Wait, was they're traveling? Was this where that dabba 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 thing was going on?
Yeah.
Because that was crazy.
The music?
And I hated that
the
more
scoring
than
was odd, but
the
like
really long.
Yeah, I was wondering. I said, okay, what? Just all you gotta do is tell me they went to New York and then got on a ship and went down to South America. You don't have to prove to me that they're taking pictures and shit with each other. I don't. What's that? They're at a fair. I don't.
It also seemed like they were, they had accrued a sum of money and everything else. Plus, there's probably gigs along the way, so to speak. Robbing, you don't just travel for work, so to speak. You just kind of go along the way, and like I think there was times where they would enjoy themselves, where there was, traveling for fun and whatnot else, and then also, case in small towns along the way kind of thing, financing, because like they mentioned is long vacations or whatever and all that.
Yeah, they
It seemed like even their clothing and stuff got fancier and their meals got fancier. So they must have been just accumulating wealth so that they could go to the South or something.
Yeah, it seems like they didn't really want to go straight. They liked getting the money, a lot of money fast, so they can do these things. Or Butch himself, anyway. Because I was thinking they could have just stayed in New York and blended in, and these people wouldn't have found them.
Yeah,
It's a lot of people, but I think their penchant for wanting to rob banks and get all the fast money, and they thought it'd be easy going to Bolivia. And they land in Bolivia, and this is where we find out that the Sundance Kid actually grew up in Atlantic City, New Jersey.
When
And,
that train stops and they get off there, that shit.
That reaction was great. Yeah, the reaction was great. They're all like looking around like, what the fuck, dude?
Well,
And
the
he's
dollar
like,
goes a lot further down here. We can live like
Yeah.
kings. It's a llama or alpaca.
Yeah,
couple
just
of
sitting there
goats.
staring at him. He's like, I'm sure it all can't look like this. So he goes, how do you know it's not the garden spot that they all come to? They get into the bank robbing here, and I guess they underestimated what these Bolivians are going to do to stop the bank robbing. Of course, they're trying to learn Spanish. Adam, how hard is Spanish to learn?
Not.
he was
How long
born
did-
into it.
Yeah,
That's not fair.
Grew up in
How long did it take the Breeze to learn it?
Well,
She
I took it for like 4 years in high school, and now
she's pretty conversational with my mom.
I'm pretty conversational, so I don't know. We'll say 4 years of high school, I guess, and then just practice every
Good
once in a
stuff.
while.
You ever call him Muchacho?
Not really.
Okay. El
Maybe.
Bandito. What is it? Bandito. What do they call them? What do they call them on the wanted signs? Banditos.
Banditos Yankees.
Yeah, Yankees.
I really liked that spelling of Yankees. I didn't realize that that would be spelled that way.
Yeah, it's they were learning Spanish so they can rob these banks, and I would say like those sparse little towns that they were going to, they figured LaFours was after him again. They thought they spotted him in a restaurant looking for him. They said, "Is that LaFours?" So they decided they're going to go straight, and they were going to wait him out. So they go straight, and they find an American who's running some like a Wells Fargo, I guess. Yeah. And this is where we get some good banter again. And he said, "Well, let me see if you can shoot."
In every Western, at some point, to have like the weird, grimy old guy that like sings like old timey songs.
Yeah,
and we got my jug and took the spit.
Just to pass the time on the trail. I said, why do they always have to fucking sing? He usually has
He's colorful, you guys.
Yeah,
he's colorful.
Colorful.
And if he's not riding a donkey, he's riding like the oldest mare in the town.
And
they've
always got pots clanging. They got pots clanging around. They're going to pan for some gold at whatever river they come to. You know, his name's something weird, like Chiggins or something. It's things like
They're
that.
usually always drunk too.
Yeah,
this guy seemed like he was sober. I think. I don't know, because I thought about that too. I was like, hasn't taken a sip yet. So this is one of those sober old weirdos.
Yeah, back then,
How dare you.
they had in those days, every Western has sipping whiskey. Or what was it that we said? Every time we went to the Coke machine that Leverett would ask us for, Herschel.
Oh God.
What was the root beer called?
Was it mug? No.
It was like sassafras or some shit we'd make fun of, like an old person's drink.
Sarsaparilla.
Sarsaparilla, that's it.
Trying to get an old trail out of the
give me a
Sioux City sarsaparilla.
Sioux City? That's a good one. Yeah.
Herschel's like, give me a Coke. I said, yeah, I'll take a Coke, and I'll take a sarsaparilla. Yeah, they got him. The apothecary got it because he had some old war injuries, so he made his stomach feel good. Give me some Gleam toothpaste.
Ask for the sarsaparilla because they don't have the cream soda.
The cream.
Oh, jeez. That boy.
Yeah, but this is like one of the scenes I remember where he's I guess he has to do his shooting quals with the old man. Yeah. So he just throws out some weird rock down the street. Hit that. He goes, son, I just want you to shoot it. And he misses it. And he's like, can I move? He's like, can you what? He said, can I move? And he shoots it, 3 or 4 times. And he's like, I'm a lot better when I move. And I remember that scene specifically from whenever I walked in and my mom was watching it. Shoot.
Can I move?
Move? What the hell you mean move?
Better when I move.
Yeah.
I said, okay, I remember that. Definitely. Robert Redford. Although, can I move? Better than when I move. It's kind of like my sex life. I wish you would move. Wish you would do something. Laying there.
I automatically assumed you were the lazy one.
I am.
Me too.
I am. Reverse cowgirl's my favorite, yet not happening,
Lazy here.
Keeping with the Western theme, I love reverse cowgirl, guys. I don't know.
Great.
You ought to see him ride a horse. It's
What about the line, this is no time for bravery? You go.
Love that. Love that one.
No time for bravery. You go. The basis of end up, they get the money on the way back. The old man gets shot. These guys have to fight, and of course they think LaFours is still after him. And they, like I said, when they underestimated what Bolivians would do, they got the whole fucking army after these guys. And we're at the end of the movie and they're holed up. Etta has gone back because she said, I'm gonna watch you die. So she went back and she'll meet them in the future. So at the end of the movie, they're trapped now by the army. And they think they're going to get out of it, maybe shoot their way out. And they start talking about we should go to Australia. Of course, Robert Redford's I don't think you know a fucking thing about Australia. He's like, they speak English there. He's like, they do? That's another one. It's like, go ahead, Brie.
I took this whole ending as they weren't actually going to go anywhere and they knew it. And they just were like pumping each other up. Like, they're like, we know this is the end. So let's just think about something completely distracting and go out with as much gusto as we can.
I think they were saying goodbye to each other. Kind of.
In their,
like, they know their friendship was solid and it was great while it lasted.
It was over.
The real life ending, they don't know what really happened in real life. The reports from the leader of that army, the general or whatever, said they know they shot him and they heard screaming in the building. And then they heard a gunshot. And then they heard another gunshot. So they thought maybe one of them put the other one out of their misery and the other one killed himself. Because they said they didn't kill him. They were going to take him alive. But they believed that Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid did a suicide in real life. Yeah. But we saw the last scene of the movie was them coming out, guns blazing. The music starts, which I love that ending, the picture of those two guys in that position. It was great.
They chose suicide by running out there rather than.
For sure.
That's what we call suicide by cop these days. Correct. But and then we go to something that I love. There's no credits. It shows you the 10 actors that were in the movie that we cared about.
They were all at the beginning.
Weren't the credits all at the beginning of the movie?
No, it's they didn't put credits.
A couple.
In these movies. Like, you didn't know who the fucking key grip was, and
beginning was.
You don't know who did Mr. Redford's hair and shit like that. Herschel, was American Graffiti the first movie with credits?
If it wasn't, well, it might have been, man. Honestly, I'm not sure because you're right.
I think there was a deal.
There
was a deal. He said, "I'll put you on the credits or everybody on the credits if you give me the money for this, whatever." But I like that quick. A lot of movies back then, it would just say the end, and bam, you're done. Of course, that's where you do see card player number 2 is Sam Elliott.
Sam Elliott.
They didn't utilize his voice like they should have in this movie.
Well, it's 1969, man. Nobody knew who that was.
He should have narrated,
Did he?
Then everybody would know. All right, so Bald Bandit.
I have some basic information from Wikipedia.
Go ahead.
2 of the first major films to contain extensive closing credits, but almost no opening credits, were the blockbusters Around the World in 80 Days from 1956 and West Side Story in 1961.
I don't know if those were good movies.
That's not what the question was.
All right. Yeah, I think I prefer no credits. I really do.
Get out of here.
Bald Bandit. What were your thoughts of this movie? Do you have anything that you want to point out that I missed that you like, or?
You're muted.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, my audio had cut out for a minute there. I had to fix it, so I figured I'd mute myself in case anything weird happened. But yeah.
Are you wearing pants?
Yeah.
Take them off.
No, I just meant audio wise.
Oh.
We are recording. We're professionals.
In case anything weird happened.
Yeah. You think about these things from a technical point of view. But anyways, yeah, I really enjoyed this movie. I was glad that I not only bought it, but picked up a sweet 3-pack Western films.
Oh, nice.
Bought it, the physical copy, so that was cool. But
what's your other 2?
Magnificent Seven and
the original or the new one?
The original, Yul Brynner.
Oh, awesome.
That would be weird if they had this old one with the new one.
Yeah. Right. And then I think the other one's think it's an Eastwood Western, but I can't remember which one it is or something.
It's
but-
Full of Dollars.
No. Oh, it's Good, Bad, and the Ugly.
Oh man, that's a
Yeah, if
solid
you,
three set. You should watch
if
that.
you're gonna
new
buy a
one,
fistful
man.
of dollars, all the other dollars movies,
Yeah.
few dollars more, and then 2 meals for Sister Sarah.
Yeah.
If you've seen the new Magnificent Seven, and
That wasn't bad.
When you watch the original, it's awesome to see. Like you're like, oh, that's the Mexican dude. You know, he's supposed to be that. It's fun to like try to match him up when they do the whole, getting the gang together to take on the town.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Recast.
Based on was it based on the Seven Samurai or something?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I would like to go back and watch that one at some point. But yeah, how about News Carver? Is News Carver a good name? Because that's a good Western name. Oh, News. Because he carried around fucking news clippings. He always wanted to read to the part that where he was mentioned. He was News. He was like the reporter for the Hole in the Wall gang.
I liked it.
Fun movie though, but yeah, and it was great to I've watched that documentary too on some of Paul Newman, more to his racing career and everything else. But the interviews with Robert Redford were huge about talking about being on set with Paul and some of the different things and the kind of guy that he was. And yeah, I mean, this is one of his more iconic roles is especially for the two of them, it kind of, when you think of Redford and Newman, everybody thinks Butch and Sundance. So it's definitely cool to sit and watch the whole thing at once and, take it all in.
That's I said the one thing that stuck out to me was the quick dialogue between the two, and it seemed like they genuinely got along.
Yeah.
Like I believe they were friends. Breeze, what'd you think?
I thought I liked it. I'm not excited about it. I did enjoy it. There was a lot of, I thought the whole music thing really threw me off, honestly. Out of all of everything, it was just either total silence or really strong choice musics.
You
But
think Lip Biscuit should be inserted?
no. But it made me realize how much there's not a lot of silence in movies nowadays at all. So I thought it was kind of cool to see how people make movies differently.
Would you rather have this soundtrack or the Commando soundtrack playing through the entire?
God, at least this one gave me a break. So
I thought about that.
What?
Would you rather have the Commando music in this one? I thought I sent that in a message.
You said
because that music did bother me during the New York part. Of I thought, is this Commando or something? What? I know I said it to myself while watching.
Yeah, that it got to me. But I really liked seeing like the younger actors. Like I never saw any of these Newman or Redford as younger men before, really. So that was really cool to see them, and they did have a good, you could tell they had a good rapport and that they had a good friendship and a good charisma together to be able to pull off a movie where you're mostly just doing nothing but walking and riding horses for a good chunk of it, and to be able to still have presence on screen while that's happening, I think is pretty difficult. So I really liked watching them, and I liked watching the story, and it was pretty cool to see it, because I know I looked up the history of Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid a little bit, so I know this follows it fairly accurately, and it is kind of a nice fleshing out of what may have happened. Yeah. I don't have a ton of strong feelings, I guess.
I was wondering, it was one, besides the prostitutes, there's one female. So do you think people assigned female at birth would find this movie interesting?
feel like that's a really weird question. Probably if they like this kind of movie.
Well, obvious.
Like, what kind of
Joe.
question is that, dude?
Come on, Joe. Stay character, buddy. Pistolero, what did you think of the movie?
I thought it was a good movie. I like westerns, but I typically like Young Guns and After is what my wheelhouse. Also, I was interested if I was gonna see like any elements that made it into the Red Dead Redemption game, which I did. It was super cool in that aspect. And yeah, and like the entire time I was watching it, I was just trying to like what makes this movie belong in the AFI 100.
Yeah,
I mean,
I wanted to ask that a little bit.
Yeah. But other than that, yeah, it's like solid movie.
KC Kid, what did you think? You've seen it before.
Seen this a bunch of times before. Remember when you used to get the things in the mail and it was like buy like 10 movies, or buy
the movies in the CD clubs.
What were they called? What was the CD club thing?
Columbia House, I think.
My
Columbia
dad
House.
got this on Columbia House kind of deal. My dad got this on VHS one year, and it was probably around like 94, 95, 96 or something. I was obsessed with Tombstone at the time. Like I think I love that movie. And so he was like, oh, well, you want to see some Westerns, check so he had bought a bunch of these old Westerns and this one was one of them. And so, I mean, I've been watching this one for a long time. I love this movie. I think it's great. It's fantastic. And a lot of it is I guess it is, it's like an hour and a half car chase, but on horses through the Wild West.
I thought of that when I watched it earlier today. I said, it's basically a car chase movie.
Yeah. The witty back and forth. And earlier I'd said that, if they recast it today, it would be Paul or John Hamm. No, it'd probably be Vince Vaughn and like Owen Wilson.
Yeah.
As like,
all I thought about was Owen Wilson.
It's so. Owen Wilson's already played a cowboy, so it'd be perfect. Shanghai Noon. Come on.
That movie.
Yeah, it's a pretty good movie. The music thing, it's definitely off. And I've always felt like that. And first when I saw it, I was like, what are these fucking like? I don't understand what they're doing here, But today, as I watched it, I was like, okay, it is kind of like a montage without being a montage. So I started looking at it from that, but it still was like, all right, this is kind of rolling on a little bit too long for me. Let's speed this up.
Yeah, I was like, I got the gist. They're enjoying New York while
they're spending this money or whatever. Let's keep this thing rolling. Not to say that it wasn't necessary. I mean, yeah, put that in there. Show me a pass your time, but knock it off a little bit. This was Andy. This is your first time seeing it, and Adam and Sabrina as well, first timers, and then Chris, first timer, all the way through at one sitting.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that Herschel's seen it multiple times. Good.
Couple two, three.
This is the type of situation that I enjoy more when we're doing this movie stuff. Is a lot of people not having seen a really, really good movie until yesterday. So fantastic. A+ movie, I think. Love it. Great stuff. Good banter. Two cool guys.
Yeah. When you get two of the biggest stars, you hope that it turns out this way. It doesn't always happen.
I mean, I'm sure that there's, and I can't, off the top of my head, I can't think, but I mean, I know that there's tons of buddy cop movies out there. There's tons of buddy burglar movies and, all this shit, and generally the stars work well together to some aspect. I can't really think off the top of my head any buddy cop movie or whatever that was a bad, like pairing, like really, I don't think this is, maybe that one with The Rock and Zac Efron with the lifeguards. I didn't like
Baywatch.
Yeah, Baywatch.
As far as a movie that was called Baywatch, but it's not a great pairing per se.
Ice Cube and Kevin
Ride
Hart.
Along. I was just
Ride Along is great.
Ride
I
Along.
don't care.
That was not great.
We have a symbiotic relationship. I was going to mention this. I don't know if you guys, was it City Heat, Herschel?
What about
Eastwood? Eastwood and Burt Reynolds?
Burt Reynolds. Yep.
Didn't work.
Did
Oh,
not.
really?
Never
Did
even
not.
heard of it.
1985.
80. I thought it was
That-
earlier,
Yeah,
83
something
or
like that.
something. But
That during the Depression. Yeah. It's,
yeah.
billed as a comedy that's just not very funny. I don't know, man.
All right, Bald Bandit. How'd you feel?
What, as a rating overall?
No, just did I already ask you how you?
Yeah, you did.
Yeah.
Herschel, go ahead.
Must have
Snub
been
note.
memorable.
No, man,
Yes, I
It's,
started with Bald Bandit. That's what it was.
it's all good, man. No, this is a really good movie. It's all about the 2 stars. It really is, and that's how it was billed. And it's interesting. Kansas City, you mentioned buddy cop movies, buddy this and that and the other. This is like the first buddy movie. This was kind of the first time that was done.
Would you say this was the first Ride or Die?
I don't know about that because you had Bonnie and Clyde a couple years earlier.
That's right.
Yeah.
But-
Warren Beatty. There we were talking about him.
But this is a really, really good movie. And I think the montage stuff, the first time you see it, you don't mind it. And the second, third time you see it, it's not that you really mind it. You're just trying to get to the next part because you're getting back to the banter. You're getting back to the fun stuff.
I don't
Right.
know. I minded it the first time.
Well, you know. But anyway. But no, man, overall it's a really, really good movie. I like it. It had been a while since I'd seen it. And I think it holds up. You know, even now, I think it holds up.
You think it belongs in the top 100?
I do. Because like I said, I mean, for me, a lot of the times it's the first, and this one gets credit for being the first buddy movie.
So I want to ask, okay, Joe, do you think it belongs? Definitely, right?
I don't know. It's hard to. I've only been on this planet for 40 years. You know, I don't. It's hard for me to say if this is like one of the 100 best movies that's ever been made.
Is it better than these Avengers movies and
Fast and the
Transformers
Furious
movies that we see?
Yes.
We've got like 8 Transformers movies. We've got 10 Fast and Furiouses. We've got 3 or 4 Schwarzenegger, Stallone, Bruce Willis. What are those things?
The Expendables, the 4th one's coming.
Yeah. You know, so I mean, like, not saying that, but I mean, we have thousands of movies to choose from. I don't know. I guess I don't know enough about the American Film Institute to poo-poo on whatever it is that they've got going on here. The movie is really good. Is it in my top 20? I think it's. I know it's not in my top 10 favorite movies, but I bet you it sneaks into my top 20.
Okay.
Sneaks in barely.
Bald Bandit. I wish you would have spelled your name with a Y instead of an I, just to insert a little bit of yourself in there. Do you think it's a top 100?
Yeah, I would say so. You know, I mean, how many times have we seen other, you know, movies, TV series, or whatever else do the cliff jumping scene? You know, like, you know, I can't swim. That's okay. The fall will probably kill you. You know, and all that. Like, the Simpsons have done it probably like 3 or 4 times. Like, all kinds of other, you know,
The fall will probably
shows
kill
and
you.
whatnot else have definitely done that particular scene in itself, you know, a bunch of times. I mean, it's definitely top 100.
All right, Bree, what do you think? Top 100, top 50?
I think it can be in the top 100.
I think it's number 50 right now.
Well, I feel pretty neutral about it, so I'm going to go with that's great. I think along the lines of what Bald Bandit was saying already, that there's a lot in this movie that sets up and sets the stage for how future movies are doing, what they'll do in those films, and what writers and actors will take from this film to make like it sets a lot of foundations and sets some standards that you see repeated and worked off of. And so I get why this is in the top 100.
And Aguero, you agree with the top 100?
I don't know, man. Like, I would also like to know what the people picking these movies are thinking when they put them in the top 100. Because if it's the first movie of its type or whatever, I mean, I guess, but that's still a kind of lame excuse to put a movie in.
They did it well.
But you take the same concepts and then somebody does it even better. Why doesn't that movie get to be inserted? Like No Country for Old Men, one of my favorite films, and crushes a lot of these types of things, blows it out of the water compared to Butch Cassidy and the Sundance. I would rather have No Country for Old Men take this place in the top 100. So does it belong in the AFI top 100 movies? I don't think so.
Okay, it's I think it goes back to what Herschel says, the criteria. Like if you were first and you set a standard, and Bree said it too, you set a standard, and other people work off of that idea. I mean, Eastwood has made a career off of slow burn westerns.
Yeah, the spaghetti westerns and everything.
Yeah, The Unforgiven. If that's one of the slowest burn with a good payoff.
Yep.
Yeah. This story just keeps being re-emulated and aspired to and recreated.
But then the dude that
it should be recreated.
The dude that takes that formula and then knocks it out of the park, shouldn't his?
Right. So, but I don't agree with No Country for Old Men taking this movie's place. Yeah, Titanic, sure. Get it out of the top 100 and put No Country for Old Men at number 42. Have no problem because it's a cool movie. I love it. Then you got people like me. I love the Sicario movies. Yeah. But here's another. I don't know what you guys think of it, but another Redford Newman movie that everybody thinks is great is not in the top 100. It's The Sting. Which of these movies is beating The Sting also?
I love watching you all nod in agreement, like, yes.
The Sting is like
very
one
discerning
thing I was
looks on your
looking
face.
at. And I just thought, people look at The Sting and they say, oh, I love that. And I love, no Burt Bacharach in that one, but some Leonard Cohen. What's that, Joe?
Some ragtime in there.
I'd be able to answer like the AFI question a lot easier if maybe I was in like 1968 and I could see the build up to, but like how they build it, like what they were like, I say commercials on TV, the marketing, let's just say the marketing overall, if it was like up in your face, to me, since it's hard to say does it belong in there when it's just always been in my life. It's like, oh yeah, it's two stars of the day, like in a movie together. Cool. If it had never been done before, like two monster stars sharing the screen, doing whatever they're doing. If that was the first time doing it and they did it that well, all right, toss them in the AFI 100.
All right, KC Kid. KC Kid, give me your Dixie Cup rating and if it's a deployment movie.
All right. I'm going to give this movie an 8.5. Dixie Cups. And as far as it being a deployment movie, I think it is, because it's basically 3 chunks of awesome movies that are separated by a musical number. Not like a musical number, singing and dancing, but just like a long drawn out montage like we discussed. And if you're the casual viewer, you come by and you're like, oh shit, it's the end of Raindrops on My Head. Oh, this is where they start to go on the run from the Native American tracker and John LaFour's. And you're like, okay, well, this only lasts like a half hour to 40 minutes. I'll watch this part real quick. And then the next music, and then you're off. Then you're off doing whatever it is that you were doing. Can you sit down straight through and watch it? Absolutely. And I bet you there's a lot of people that enjoy. Everyone I've ever encountered that had seen this movie before likes this movie. So I'm assuming that everybody on deployment would have a good time with this.
And
So
Bald
it's a deployment
Bandit.
movie.
All right, thank you. Bald Bandit, what is your rating? And is it a deployment movie? And would it be better? Would montage be better if we put in the South Park montage song?
Oh,
Even Rocky had a montage
from Team America.
Yeah.
I mean, they weren't.
What's your rating?
What? Yeah. So rating the brass tacks of everything here. It's 7.5. It's. I think it's definitely a deployment movie. It's it's a total classic guys film. It's a good Western. It's a heist movie. It works. It's it's not like it's kind of lighthearted and fun with between the offbeat music kind of thing,
It could be played during chow, right?
yeah, exactly. And it's kind of fun and light that way. Even though it is about crime and running amok and whatnot. But yeah.
Pistolero, what is your rating and deployment movie status?
It's a good movie, and I'm gonna give it a solid 7.5. Using the excuses, because it is not a deployment movie. I'm giving a 7.5 for the same reasons I'm saying it's not a deployment movie. I've seen better Westerns. It's quiet and kind of slow paced, and I don't think that's the right type of environment for a deployment. A movie for a deployment.
You need the Fast and Furious 3,000 mile long runway scene.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Thanks, man. Bree, how do you feel?
First, it's not a deployment movie. Basically the same reasons El Guero says. And I want to rate it higher than it is because it is so seminal to the film industry and all that jazz, but I don't think it's something that is essential watching for anybody under the age of 40. So, but I think I would recommend it to people that are interested in film and learning the history and that kind of stuff like that. Like younger people who think that they're cinephiles, and I'll say, have you ever seen this one? So I'm gonna give it a 6.5. I enjoyed it, but I'm never gonna sit down and watch it again. I like that I saw it. I've always been curious. And this was the only way I was gonna sit still because it was pretty slow paced. It was quiet. As said, the music montages were kind of weird, but there was some really great banter, some really great one-liners, and I can appreciate the foundations it set for films to come and gave me the films that I really do enjoy nowadays.
All right.
That's it.
Okay, thanks. Thank you. Snub Nose, what's your rating?
I like this movie a lot. I think it is deserving of its place. So I'm going to go with an 8.5. I think it's very watchable. I do think it's a deployment movie because if you haven't seen it and you come in 20 minutes into it, you catch somebody up in 10 seconds. What's going on here? Well, it's Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. They robbed a train. Now they're on the run. Oh, okay, cool. And that's it. That's all you need to know. But it's very quotable. It's fun to watch. And I mean, it's just the kind of stuff you don't see anymore. They didn't need 18 million explosions. They didn't need whatever. I mean, you had the power of the two people on the screen for the most part, and they carry the whole thing. So I like it quite a bit. I do think it's a deployment movie. And 8.5 for me.
I think that's probably the reason it's so high up. You got two men that carry this movie and keep you interested and make you want to watch it. And I do like it because it's peaceful. I get tired of the fucking explosion, the Michael Bay shit. Like, hey, I don't need slow motion every fucking 10 seconds. You know, you talk about you could take the montages out of this movie. If you take slow motion out of Michael Bay movies, you're cutting out 45 minutes of every fucking movie, you know? And it was two iconic actors that, you know, we didn't know were iconic at that point, but became iconic, and their legacy from this, the legacies from this movie, from those two guys, are gonna last throughout history here. There's a hole in the wall gang charity, Newman's own salad dressings. He makes no money from that. His family makes no money from that. It goes to the charities.
Sundance Film Festival.
The Sundance Film Festival in Park City, Utah, still going on to this day. So, I mean, this has got a legacy. It's a legacy builder. And like you said, I think, Bree, did you say it? If you're going to, somebody's taking a film class on how to shoot a movie, this would be a great one to watch.
Yeah. I don't deny any of the things you're saying, but
how to write a good movie also, you know, because like you got to fill this in. It's a true story, but you got to fill in. Okay, what the fuck were they talking about the whole time they're being to Bolivia? What kind of music did they listen to when they're taking pictures of Coney Island? Just think, you know, that's kind of music they listened to back then. Grandparents now, you know, say in the future, we're going to be listening to rap. And people would be like, oh shit, man, they listen to sorry ass, my grandma listens to sorry ass music. I've got Herschel over here. My rating for this is an 8.5. And I put, yeah, it is a deployment movie, just because, you know, sometimes it's like, I just want to see a Western.
it's really funny because I feel like they're rating this movie as high as they're rating like that dumb sex movie, like Sex Drive and this movie, but for very different reasons.
Oh yeah. Did Sex Drive get a high rating?
But so when I give these ratings, I use the same exact criteria for every single one of them. Would I recommend it and would I watch it again?
Now let me tell you something. If they had boobs in this movie, it'd be a 10. All right.
Got almost boobs.
Got some Catherine Ross teasers there.
You got a good tease of a boob.
Yeah, Catherine Ross, Sam Elliott, still married to this day. Going strong.
Good for them.
It's real.
It was her fourth attempt.
Yeah.
Her fourth marriage?
Yeah.
Oh.
Let me tell you something.
Her.
You know what? She's like, fuck, I need a fucking real man like that card player number 2 in that one movie.
Card player number 2.
You know,
I would love for that to have happened on the first date. Were you card player number 2 in Butch and Sundance?
Did
Damn
they
right
get
I
married
was.
after Roadhouse?
like I folded. I had a goddamn full house. I didn't want Sundance to shoot my ass.
Yeah. I knew when my butt was breaded.
This was like one of his first movies, right? And then, of course, now let's go ahead and go into the future. Some 3 years later, you know, he's now Mayor Wild West on Family Guy. So took out his cousin as Adam West from that show, Wild West. Now, Peter, you don't choose the horse chooses you. Come on, so classic. All right, so we had a
Look how pleased you are with yourself.
for extra, I'm very clever. Extra military instruction. We had a cruise book quote and a top 5 list of damn, I wish I wrote that movie. My criteria for damn, I wish I wrote that movie is kind of odd, but I want to start with Snubnose this time. Let's go with your cruise book quote.
Okay, so cruise book quote. I picked Strother Martin, the Percy from down in Bolivia, when they're riding the first time, heading down the mountain to get the money. And he says, morons. I've got morons on my team. And so that's my quote. But as far as I wish I wrote that, my criteria is...
Are we doing both at the same time?
Let's do just cruise.
Are we doing both at the same time, or what are we doing?
Let's do cruise book for now.
Okay, there you go.
Morons. I've got morons on my
Morons.
team.
I've got morons.
You've said that in Fort College staging to Shoe Bottom and Acuna, I think. And I think Zankowski was around the corner.
I think at that point it wasn't a movie quote. I think I was just being honest. But
Right. And, Chief Riley was on the fucking elliptical
yeah.
with his frosted tips. Bree, what's your cruise book quote?
My cruise book quote?
Yeah.
Boy, I got vision and the rest of the world's got bifocals.
That's the one I heard. I was like, the rest of the world's got bifocals. When were bifocals invented? Franklin invented them, right? So they had to be late 1700s, early 1800s.
Yeah. I took down a couple of quotes. I was excited for that.
I did too. El Guero, what's yours?
So on my podcast, Average Your Podcast, sometimes I bring up sailor experiences, and these are, one of the sailor experiences that every sailor experiences is the liberty buddy that nobody wants. So when I saw this quote, I kind of envisioned Joe saying this to that liberty buddy. What I'm saying is, if you want to go, I won't stop you. But the minute you start to whine or make a nuisance, I don't care where we are, I'm dumping you flat.
And that led to, don't sugarcoat it. Right there. Loved it. KC Kid, what you got?
You guys, so everyone's done a really good job so far. I just want to say that.
Yeah.
I kept it really simple for a cruise book. I can't swim.
Hey.
I personally can swim, but if I was flipping through a cruise book and we had cruise book quotes and just some random person was like, I can't swim as a quote, I'd be like, that'd be fucking hilarious.
And that's the weird part. People are like, why'd you join the Navy if you can't swim? You're like, well, I intend to stay on the boat.
Expecting not to be on the boat.
All right, Bald Bandit, what do you got?
Yeah, it wasn't really said in the movie, but it's definitely something. Or maybe he said it during one of the montages, but Sundance would have said "Vámonos, Bolivia."
Oh, it did say that.
Vámonos, Bolivia.
Yeah,
like you're leaving the port, huh? And you're fucking alpaca. Herschel, what was the old guy's name that they started working for? The Wells Fargo in Bolivia.
The actor's Strother Martin, Percy something or another.
Percy. Now, I don't know if this is a cruise book quote or a recruiter saying it to you, but mine is, well, considering that I'm desperate and you're just what I'm looking for, on top of which you stand from the US of A, we start tomorrow morning.
Good.
Spoken like a chief.
Considering that I'm just thinking of a recruiter at the end of the month trying to get some retard. Considering that I'm desperate.
States, come on in.
All right, I want to go to the top 5 list now. That was like great quotes. It was all of them that I was thinking about. My one that I was also thinking about was, can I move? I'm better when I move. Or there's no.
I'm glad I
did. Right. This is no time for bravery. You go.
Yeah.
You got the balls and you got the brain there between Redford and Newman. So it's no time for bravery. You go. Bald Bandit, what is your top 5? Damn, I wish I wrote that movie list.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of took it maybe a different way than some. Some of them are just kind of movies I enjoyed that I wish I wrote, kind of thing, or to that ilk to a degree. So on my list, So I Married an Axe Murderer. A great fun movie of mine that I totally wish I wrote because that would have been fun. School of Rock, definitely could have been an autobiographical one I could have wrote.
I don't think you would get out of going to jail for impersonating a teacher and taking kids out of the school.
Yeah,
I don't know if that's a crime.
I think it is. I think it's a big crime, actually.
It's kind of a kidnapping.
Even if you were like, well, it's for a band. No, man, I think I think they're burying you under a jail.
No, I would say look up Jack Black's mom. She was very famous and very Very amazing. Look up his mom, what she did. That's a good one. Go ahead, Bald Bandit.
Sorry, Andy. Sorry.
I wrote I put Wonder Woman 1984 on there because that thing was such hot garbage. I could easily write a better movie.
I would just want to write it just so I can meet Gal Gadot. Jesus.
I put Grand Prix, the James Garner flick from the 60s. Be a fun, car movie to work on and everything else and racing. It was a great film. So I mean, why not? That's probably the only one really in that like damn, I could have, wish I would have wrote that. I'd make some money, but then High Fidelity, my last one.
High Fidelity. You're a Jack Black guy, I see.
Yeah, well, Cusack's the main, gimmick there in High Fidelity, but yeah.
Do you feel Jack Black is a better secondary character to boost the movie?
I think it works pretty well as like the background foil to the other, record store employee there. Like the two most like retarded music, appreciators or whatever working there with Robbie Gordon at the record store. And it's a good balance.
I just say that because I'm still waiting for a Cable Guy 2 with Jack Black having a bigger role. KC Kid, what's your top 5? Damn, I wish I wrote that movie.
Right. Top 5. Damn, I wish I wrote that movie. I'm kind of all over with my reasonings on each of these movies because I didn't really know if we were to zero in on one type of reasoning why. But I chose The Big Lebowski just because it's been such a generational fucking like cult following thing, like it's got its own fucking festival. Yeah, so it's a movie that has its own 2 hours and they gave it a festival. So, it's a big ass impact.
I like
Beer Fest was my other one.
Yes.
Mostly because at the time of that movie coming out, it was exactly like what like everybody needed.
It's what we were doing
like my age.
Point.
It's exactly what it was. It was just it fit so perfectly with like the age that I was, and like everybody likes drinking games. It was, and it helped that it was really friggin' funny and pretty. Whatever, man. Whatever. I got a Christmas Story. They play that every year, no matter what. Give me my checks every year.
24 hours on TBS.
So I constantly get that that money for that. So I thought that would be kind of cool, right? And then I chose Reindeer Games so that I could tell Ben Affleck, you don't need to do this, man. You're better than this. And stay away from Geely while you're at it. And he'll be like, I don't know what that is. I'm like, I'm from the future, dude. Trust me, you'll be fine. Argo will be huge.
Why do we not have Ben and Jennifer?
Round 2. So crazy, isn't it? And then my last one that I chose, and this is near and dear to my heart, but I wish that I wrote Blue Crush so that I could have destroyed it from within more than they did by that terrible movie and the writing and everything else. That movie was, it was just a bad movie. It's so bad.
Did every surfer in that movie have 2 arms?
Everyone did. It was not about the
I'm thinking of a different one then.
Yeah, you're thinking about
Blue Crush. They were like fucking hotel maids with surfing dreams.
Yeah.
And then she met an NFL quarterback there for the Pro Bowl.
Yeah,
and
Faison Love was in it. He was kind of cool, but
okay. Understood. I know that one.
Yeah, it's bad, man. I hate it. I talk about it all the time because I hate it so much so that nobody else will watch it.
Great publicity.
I can't stop. Like anybody
I would
listen.
watch it just because someone hated it so much, because I'd be like, what could possibly
my sister got
be
married
so
and I gave a speech and I was like, while you're at it, don't watch Blue Crush. And then I walked off the stage. Everyone's like, what? Googling? It's got Kate Bosworth. Oh, don't do it.
Speaking of Kate Bosworth, I saw her playing like a swamp gal in Southern Louisiana in some Jason Statham movie. And whenever I realized it was Kate Bosworth, I said, "Are you fucking kidding me?" I was like, "Oh God!" I thought she was cute at one point. But watch that movie and you'll be just like, "Holy shit! Did she lose 100 pounds? She only weighs 32 right now in this movie."
Oh man, poor girl.
She had like 8 collarbones. All right, Pistolero, what's your top 5? Damn,
I only came up with 3.
Oh.
And then, well, mine were strictly, damn, I wish I came up with that. One is a super bad, but in my version, it would be like me and Joe in the Navy trying to get to like a party in like Newport News. What the ultimate goal is still to get laid.
I thought the parties were at your guys' apartment, though, the whole time we were in Virginia.
I mean, it was, but in my movie, it'd be like.
Where did Magni get pissed on? Whose couch did Magni get pissed on?
Ours.
My house.
It was yours.
Great.
Because I remember we heard the story on that Monday, and then later on, Magni would lose his temper every hour.
Yeah.
And Magni, he's like, "Man, no, this is fucking bullshit." He goes, "I'm fucking pissed off." And then Herschel said, "Is it better than being pissed on?" Right after we heard that.
Oh, man. He's such a wiener about that. I was like,
Super.
"Cool down, man."
Super bad. All right.
And then two and 3, they're kind of related, and this just goes to like my brain and what my interests are. But number 2 is Grandma's Boy. I could have done that movie with video game references like 20 times better than those guys. And then number 3, I know technically it's a book or whatever, but Ready Player One, like that is like also my wheelhouse of like pretending I'm in a video game and then going from there. So those are my 3 movies.
All right, Bree, give us 7. Give us your top 7 to fill in for your.
Conveniently, I have a list of
Pistolero.
6.
Go ahead. Let me hear 6.
Yeah, conveniently, I have a list of 6.
I'll add one for you when I hear your list.
All right, great. Preface: this isn't necessarily that I don't like the stories of these movies, but the writing could have been more. One is not a movie. It's Game of Thrones. The books and the movies, I think, could have just been better written. But the story, enjoyed. 2 is Commando, because as you all know, I've already added in a bunch of stuff to that story, and I would just like to see the full picture done.
You need to work on getting on Commando 2 then.
Yeah, I'll do that. I've got the Star Wars prequels. I've been rewatching all the Star Wars stuff, and I am just annoyed now that I've gotten too far into these movies, and I don't know what George Lucas was doing when he wrote those. But yeah. Then I've got Calm Yourself, Reign of Fire. That was a great movie. Those were great actors, and they deserved better writing.
You're like shitting on everything I love.
Yeah.
It's okay.
It was well, it wasn't bad. I wish I was writing it too, so I could hang out with like dragons.
Yeah, it was cool. I just wanted it to be it could have just been slightly better writing, because it was
Those dragons are real.
The dialogue, I've got the Suicide Squad on here. I just think those were also really amazing actors that they managed to get for those parts, and they could have done something better.
Cast Jai Courtney, it's kind of, it cancels out at least half of that crew.
And then my 6 is actually 2 movies. Robin Hood with Kevin Costner, and the other Robin Hood where Jamie Foxx is in it. I think they were, yeah. Well, like there's some young blonde kid that plays Robin Hood, and Jamie Foxx is his like teacher of martial arts and stuff. I didn't look up the names. I just know that they were terrible movies, and
I don't know if that's
we don't need rewrites of Robin Hood like 10 more times. I could have stopped with the animated one.
The Robin Hood movies, I agree with you. I'm like, what the fuck? why are we doing these fucking things? Is this such a great, important story here? And Kevin Costner, I'm sorry, but Robin Hood was kind of a teenager. You and Robin Williams can't play Peter Pan and fucking Robin Hood with your hairy fucking forearms. Shave those fuckers. You know,
All right, I've heard enough.
What are we talking?
I'm not gonna
Man
sit
in
here and
Tights
let
was good though.
you guys
Men in
bash
Tights.
Prince of Thieves in front of me.
No,
oh, you like
okay.
the Brian Adams.
That was a good
montage.
fucking movie, man.
Robin
Brian
Hood, Prince
Adams
of
there.
Thieves is
Prince
good.
of Thieves is
That's the Kevin Costner one?
yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's
Yes.
a good one.
No, I'm not.
Did he have a
I'm gonna
feather
go back
earring
to
in
my
that one,
preface.
Herschel?
Oh, you're
My
not
preface
shitting all
was-
over it. It's the rest of these guys that are shitting all over it.
No, but he did have a really good English accent. Robin of Interstate 77, I guess. I don't know where the fuck he was from.
I'm just going to reiterate really quickly. I like these movies. I want the writing to be better. The dialogue
I find it
to be better.
I find it interesting how you guys took this. You took
Well,
it
I don't
as
wanna
I want to
write movies.
rewrite them. I want to rewrite them because I think they could have been better. I came from the part to where it's a fucking good idea that's right there in front of my face and I didn't fucking think of it. I'm an idiot.
That's how I did mine.
I'm not a writer, so that was overwhelming and I couldn't think of anything when I did that way. So I did it this way.
All right, snub nose.
I am I'm similar in mindset, from a money making standpoint and a lazy standpoint. But so 16 Candles. Wish I would have wrote it. Everybody loves it, and then I basically have every other movie I'm going to make for the rest of my career. I've set the formula. Bam, there it is.
Yeah, if you rewrote it today, you keep it in the fucking Chinese guy.
I wouldn't rewrite it today. No.
Leave it alone. No Breakfast Club, no 16 Candles. You're leaving them alone.
Yes.
Okay.
But
Long Duck Dong is safe.
Yeah. Just because you love it and you feel it has no place in human history, I wish I would have written Titanic.
Titanic wrote itself.
It was exactly, and so that's what
Part 2 just happened.
And so exactly, they made a movie way back when. James Cameron comes along and says, "You know what? I can make it better by not really making it about the damn ship. I'll just embellish a bunch of crap that happened on it."
Oh my God! Don't you love Celine Dion? Oh my God! Isn't she the best?
Oh Jesus, she's like butter.
Oh Jesus Christ! When you talk about Canadian fucking songbird, like a Canadian goose flying south with that voice.
I wish I had written Fast and Furious. Doesn't take a whole lot of talent, and then I'm set for 20 years. I just make the same movie every 2 years. Bam, done.
All right. Okay.
People are dumb enough to watch it again. I wish I would have written Blair Witch Project. So simple.
$20 budget.
$20. All I do is I strap a camera to a French bulldog, set it loose in the woods, and say, bam, there you go. There's half of the movie right there. We'll figure it out in post. Wish I would have done it. I wish I would have written Rocky. I couldn't have sold myself to star in it.
You could have been Spider Rico.
I think at this point I'm more Paulie, but then I've written every sequel. I've started a whole new franchise with Creed, and then every other thing Stallone did. So I'm just saying, I'm just trying to set myself up by writing one. I'll change the names. I'll submit it 2 years from now. There's my next movie.
All right. Is that 5?
That's 5.
Well, I wish you would have did 10, buddy. I love listening to you, like a Celine Dion.
I love listening to me.
Rocky. Stallone set a precedent there. No, y'all know this is my movie. I'm not selling it to you, and I'm gonna fucking be in it. Look at the franchises this guy has created for himself. Yeah. That's all you want is a franchise. Now, your Fast and Furious, that's not very hard to write. It was already written before that. It was called Point Break. And there's like, hey, instead of surfers, let's just do cars. And they steal fucking VCRs or some shit, and they make money off
TV VCR combo. Or TV,
man.
DVD VCR combos. And mini TVs and shit.
I got
That's how old the movie was. That's what they were stealing in the first one.
And then they thought, Johnny Tran was the one doing it.
Yeah.
You know, like he's got plenty of those already. So it's up to me, my top 5, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, I took it was like, God damn, that was so. Why didn't I think of that?
Yeah.
Top 5. Damn, I wish I wrote that movie. Let's start with Lost Boys, a good vampire movie.
Great saxophone
Cool.
solo in the middle of that thing.
Man, Timmy, he still goes by Timmy. Oh, Timmy Capello. Timmy Capello, you'll see him on the Axis show, Top 10. They talk about top 10 songs of whatever fucking subject, and Timmy Capello is one of the people. He's still muscular. He wears a chain for a necklace and a chain for a bracelet. Lost Boys was when it came on in the shop, we'd make a lot of jokes to old Scott Riley about you lended. Thank you for lending Corey Haim your wardrobe and your bedroom when you were 13. Got a picture of
Rob
a dude.
Lowe poster.
Yeah. My next one, there it is. Simple movie, one of the greatest ever in history. Snakes on a Plane. I was like, why? No one is. They've done the Middle East hijackers. Nobody's ever thought about snakes hijacking a plane. And it depends on how you like. And I love Samuel L. Jackson. I always say only 2 people could have done Castaway: Tom Hanks and Samuel L. Jackson. Samuel L. Jackson yelling at Wilson, "What you looking at, motherfucker?" You know, that would have been fun. But now when you watch it on TV, they change it to mother loving and things like that, and monkey loving. And it's funny. My number 3 is Predator.
Thought about
Since the
putting that on my list.
movie Prey came out, just like a big, you got this badass group of commandos, as we'll say, tie it all in. Shane Black does a great job writing movies. And they think they're out there looking for gorillas. No, it would have been fun if there was a real gorillas that they're after, but no, it was an alien. And then they make Prey, and now you think, oh shit, how long have these aliens really been coming around? We could just take this everywhere, every different part of time, and different people are fighting the aliens. At some point, hopefully they beat the humans at one point. I don't know. Number 2, of course, is Point Break. The prequel to fucking Fast and the Furious movies. How you thought? A group of bank robbing surfers being hunted by Keanu Reeves. My favorite movie of all time. It's definitely top 3. It's not in the top 100. I don't know how that is. Catherine Bigelow, her first directorial debut, and fucking knocked it out of the park. There's some women's history there, but she won for The Hurt Locker. See that masterpiece 20 years earlier? And my number 1 is Gross Point Blank. So easy. Everybody to their high school reunions and they try to make themselves sound better than what they really are, and they lie about their jobs. Not Martin Blank. No, he told everybody he was a professional killer and nobody believed him. I'm a professional killer. Oh yeah, you get dental with that? No, you don't. It's like, I'm a professional killer. Oh, is that like a growth industry? Can anybody get into that? Yeah, anybody can join. Anybody can get into that.
Dan Aykroyd's my nemesis.
Yeah. one of the best
How hard
movies
could
ever
it
made
be?
there. Definitely another top 10 movie for me. Gross Point Blank. Bree, have you ever seen Gross Point Blank?
Probably not. I spaced out while you were talking.
Wow.
You
I won't
don't
lie.
listen to me.
I'm so sorry. Well, you just kept saying a lot of things that I don't know anything about. And then you said my name, and it was like that.
That's usually what happens when men talk.
Occasionally.
Can't keep up.
Hey, that's not where we were going.
Or I'm sorry, people who were assigned female at birth. Yeah, that's my top 5. Glad you guys enjoyed this movie. Herschel had the next pick. I did intend on inviting Shoebottom. I forgot to tell him about the schedule change.
Oh.
Shoebottom is he feels isolated. He doesn't feel funny anymore. I think he needs camaraderie. He's missing camaraderie of the military. And I told him this would be a good forum and probably need to get him on one of your podcasts, Adam. Because he's asked me to be a reference for him to join the reserves. he wants to finish out his next 15 years or something so he can get some sort of a retirement. And I don't know if he realizes the reserves are going to be the first ones that they send to Eastern Europe next year. All right, that's it for me. Herschel's got the pick. Adam, are we doing the wheel now?
We do the wheel last.
Do the wheel last. Herschel, it's on you.
Yeah. It's on me. So, my pick, if I'm not mistaken, was 80s action / adventure.
Oh yeah,
so tough for you to pick something.
I've been anticipating.
Only you've seen some of those.
It was really
movies.
tough. I want to tell you guys something. So it's probably once a day, Chris has tried to get me to pick The Wraith, and
at least once a day. Yeah,
he just he's like, hey, how about The Wraith? That's something that everybody hasn't seen.
Yeah, Charlie Sheen's acting debut.
Everybody being Bree is the only one in this group probably has not seen it.
True. True. I have not.
So to make you happy, I decided to not pick The Wraith. There's a lot of stuff though, man. I mean, there's a lot. We've gone through a lot. It would be easy to pick, and I was talking to Chris about it. It would be easy to pick Cobra. It would be easy to pick First Blood, things that you watch and have seen over and over and over. But I decided to go a slightly different route.
Did you pick Romancing the Stone?
Now, see that it popped in my head, but no.
I just wanted to see if I could guess it before you told us.
No, man, really close.
Tom Hanks.
Talking about buddy movies, there's
Good
one
one.
right there. Way better than the Jim Belushi one. What was that? K9? K9 Cop. So sitting back and forth, what I've decided is to go with from 1988, clocking in at a very tight 91 minutes, the Deadpool, Clint Eastwood, the last Dirty Harry movie. You probably haven't seen it. You stopped watching Dirty Harry movies. If you watched any of them, you probably haven't seen it. But
I watch them all when they do the marathons.
You probably have. But it's the last one, and the Deadpool. Not that we're not talking about some Ryan Reynolds shit here. This is the last Dirty Harry movie.
What if I watch the Ryan Reynolds Deadpool?
Yeah, let's just review. Let's just do Deadpool.
You can watch that if you want.
I'm gonna come
in. Not gonna get you extra credit.
You can just keep yourself on mute for the entire discussion. But I think it's somewhat topical. You're coming out of a Western. Eastwood made his name in Westerns, got famous for Westerns. And he is currently working on what they say is going to be his last movie as a director. I mean, he's 90 whatever years old. He probably
93.
93. So that's your movie now. For your homework, EMI. Cruise book quotes because it's fun. And I would like your top 5 actors that no matter what they do, you will forever see them as this character.
Or like in a typecast, or just like I always know him as this guy kind of thing.
I always see them as this person. And I mean, I'll tell you, everybody might not be. I'm a fan of Clint Eastwood. I'll watch Clint Eastwood in anything, but the first thing that pops into my head whenever he's on screen is Dirty Harry.
Right.
So, whatever. If it's Dom Toretto for you, fine, that's fine. Whatever. But anyway, so that's my pick. If you don't have it in your DVD collection or Adam in your VHS collection, since you're going retro, you're probably going to have to pay to watch it. I think it's like $2.99 on Prime or something right now.
Yeah.
But there you go. Who's next?
We talked about this one.
We did.
Very famous rock and roll band makes an appearance in this one.
They do. As does a famous comedian lip
Yeah.
syncing that famous rock and roll band.
Oh,
I
so
saw
awesome.
this movie when I was in middle school. I had a 13-inch black and white TV. My grandma and grandpa drove. They visited, and it was my like first TV, and this was on like channel 38, The Great, where they played like all older random shit all the time. And like on a Sunday afternoon, it was like the Deadpool. Oh, cool. Yeah, I've seen this. I mean, it's been so long that this will be a brand new fucking experience for me. But
I feel
But when
like
you
you guys
said-
aren't gonna like my top 5 because
I
they're
was
all
like,
gonna be like
oh shit, that Dirty Harry movie.
older actors that I have only seen in recent films, and you're gonna be like, that's the person you think of?
Hey, whatever. It's
You were
it's-
born in 88?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so that's fine. That'll add to it.
Yeah, you guys will. I'll make you angry about something else next episode too.
Maybe
It'll be funny.
Paul
I already
Newman and
thought of like a
Slapshot.
couple, and you guys aren't
See?
gonna like it.
And so that's,
Because I think
And
all
so-
5 Rockies came out by the time you were born, you know?
who is next?
Who picks after Herschel?
I think it's me.
Joe.
Joe?
Yeah.
We got to get the wheel up. Oh.
Just outside of Kansas City, kid.
It's either gonna be that or Prairie Dog, and I thought that sounded too much like the doo-doo jokes. I wasn't gonna.
Yeah. I was thinking maybe like you're the one who takes down TikTokers or something in your town.
Joe, have you had a free for all or a AFI 100?
I have not had either of those.
Okay.
A dramedy. Comedy or
1980s
drama?
Comedy
Yeah,
or drama? Ooh wee.
The Wraith could fit into that category too.
Yeah.
The Wraith
I'm not
is
picking the
action,
Wraith.
comedy, drama, and sci-fi.
What even is the Wraith?
It's a fantastic
ghost.
movie, is what
A
it is.
ghost,
And
man.
again, Charlie Sheen's debut.
Was that his movie debut?
I believe so.
He was on his way to the Philippines to shoot Platoon.
Yeah.
And he stopped in Arizona to shoot the Wraith, and Oliver Stone fucking heard about it, and he watched the
Whoa.
movie and he was pissed.
The
He's
like
"You
little
do- you do
synopsis
some
when you
piece of
Google
shit
this
like
is
that?"
insane.
Funny. Oliver Stone angry at the Wraith.
You want to close us out, Chris?
Hey, thanks to everybody for joining us. It was a great discussion on Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. Please join us next month when we discuss Clint Eastwood's final frontier of the Dirty Harry character and the Deadpool. Everybody have a good 4th of July. Let's do a Pride Month for America now, and have a good night.
Night.
Good night.